And now we travel back in time to 1869, the Unquiet Dead. As we open up to find out that the dead are starting to move and not be so quiet, we find out that a character has psychic powers we agreed to by Charles Dickens and ghosts. The ghosts are known as the Gelf, the psychic is known as Gwyneth, and Charles Dickens is in denial. As the Doctor and Rose step foot into Cardiff, 1869, they think it's just a regular Christmas Eve, but in actuality, it is more than just a regular Christmas Eve. Ghosts are running amok around Cardiff town. So, with the synopsis done, I hope that intrigues you into what is one of, in my opinion, the most underrated Christopher Eccleston story of Doctor Who. This episode's story is, in my opinion, a nice story. Not complex at all. If anything, it's very similar to A Christmas Carol, with Charles Dickens taking on the role as Ebenezer Scrooge, the ghosts being the ghosts. And in a way, the Doctor is also another ghost, where he's seeking to find that compassion in Charles Dickens. In a way, this is a bit stretched out. But then you have the additional inputs from Gwyneth and Rose, where they are existing, being drawn into one plot point or another. Gwyneth being more important than what we originally assumed for simply a maid. And it leads to a conclusion which is, in my opinion, very satisfying and very emotional as well. And it does tie into a later episode as well, which we'll talk about later. And it also ties into a spin-off series, which I've only remembered myself as well. As for the characters, the Doctor, I think he takes a bit of a back seat here because this episode is not focused on him. Instead, it's more focused on Rose understanding the effects of time travel, where if you change something in the past that doesn't happen in the present, it can happen in the present because time is not a straight line. But it's also focused on the Gelf, with their planet being destroyed in a war which the Doctor was a part of, where the Doctor feels responsible for trying to save the Gelf. Charles Dickens, in my opinion, is a fantastic character that we got to see, and I'm so glad he was the first one of New Who fans to meet. Honestly, I couldn't think of anyone better for the Doctor, especially Christopher Eccleston, to meet. And Gwyneth is she's such a lovely character. So innocent seeming at the start, only to find out how important she is. It's brilliant to see. I love this episode. Anyway, as an overall story ranking, I need to say this episode is a solid 7.5, because ultimately what drags it down is that it's a bit simplistic in a way. The Gelf are underdeveloped, so are other characters, especially Gwyneth and her master, but Gwyneth does have her redeeming qualities, whilst her master doesn't. I'm only calling her master, because I actually don't remember his name. Other than that, there's nothing really much to add here, because the Doctor and Rose kind of take a back seat, where they do shine up at some points, but not enough for me to be like, is this really an episode of Doctor Who, or is this a moral conundrum taking place in Victorian Cardiff? But Charles Dickens, a fun character to see, and a one-time use for a full episode is more than enough for me. He is a great character, and played excellently as well. So far, The Unquiet Dead is the highest ranking episode of Series 1 out of the 3 episodes we've done so far. But how long will The Unquiet Dead be the highest ranking? Well, time will only tell. Until then, let's go back to London, where politics and aliens come into the mix, and aliens are the prime ministers.